For the last 12 years. I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, but I don't want people buying girls. I don't want people buying little girls anymore. And I'm tired of saying it's okay and that we have to protect the men who do it.
Her name is Senator Susan Talamantes Eggman. She is a Democrat senator. She's a part of the Senate in California. She stunned the entire floor, it is said, after saying the things that she's about to say. She's saying the things that most of us already know, but I don't think we understand the gravity of the situation and how drastically bad it is. Well, she is speaking out about how many of these politicians are protecting those network where these underage children are being moved and sold and prostituted in these circles. She's addressing, she is saying, I'm done with it. I no longer want to be a part of this. And then I ask the question, who else is a part of this? How big is this thing? How massive is this thing, right? Sound of freedom. Friends, I'm telling you, this stuff is drastically bad. Both my wife and I were involved in what's going on in that circle. You have not seen the numbers. What you see on television, little things here and there, little movies here and there. Listen, bruh, that's like a sample of the real issue that's going on behind the scene when it comes to that particular network in itself and what is happening with little children. I can say a lot more, but I'm just gonna move to the video because it speaks for itself. Let's get to it.
Eggman.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I'd like to say, as a progressive, proud member of this body for the last 12 years, I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done. I don't want to send more black and brown men to prison. I don't want more people in prison, but I don't want people buying girls. I don't want people buying little girls anymore. And I'm tired of saying it's okay and that we have to protect the men who do it. As a mental health professional and as a social worker, I can tell you I've spent my entire career working with people who have been wounded. I'm not going to say beyond repair, but they have been wounded to their core by the abuse that's been heaped on them, oftentimes by those that they love and look to protect them. And if their parents won't do it, then by God, we should. Again, I am not arguing that we open the gates to flood our prisons with people, but I am arguing that we have a moral responsibility to say enough. Enough. We have given away enough on this area, and we've got to move back into the center, or we all look like fools and laughing stocks. And what do we stand for? I asked all of you to watch the documentary that Senator Grove was in, Senator from Kern County was just in, that talked about this very place in Sacramento where girls are being bought and sold. Men are being given a little slap in the hand or a couple days, and then they're back out again, and they do the same thing. They get caught over and over and over again, and somehow that's okay. It's not okay. It is not okay anymore. And no more on my watch. And like I said, I'm leaving, but the rest of you who are going to be here for a while, let's get our stuff together and really start focusing on some of the important things. We talk about learning and we talk about being safe. This is like at the core of it. And a lot of these kids can be throwaway kids. They're poor kids. They're kids of color. But they shouldn't have to live a life determined by what happens to them by others at a very young age and by have the Democratic Party of California say it's okay. It's not okay.
No, it's not.
And I'm not doing it anymore, and I hope none of you do too. We have to be able to draw a line, and for me, I'm drawing a line. I urge your I vote.
That was serious, man. That was serious indeed. Wow. This woman right here, she deserves a lot of credit for having the hearts to speak out in the way that she just did. I don't think some of us actually understand how serious of an issue this is. This is not just happening in the world, it's happening in the church. It's a common practice. There's a whole system of network. My dear friends, I know because my wife and I, we are involved in some of this. And my wife has a history herself, and she's using that as a mean to help others. Even, I think, in the next 2 weeks or so, we're supposed to go somewhere in New Jersey and address some of this stuff. And we're doing some work with some other churches as well that are connected to the government. There's different ways we're going about bringing awareness to this and also doing something about it. Let me tell you something. You don't hear too many sermons about this, do you? You don't hear too many ministers coming out and speaking against this, right? You know why? It's a protected group. It's happening behind the scenes. And when you see a bunch of children, bunch of men rising to the surface, claiming to be this and to be that, to be trans, to be this, identify as this, part of their confusion is what's been going on behind the scene. The level of trauma and abuse, the level of prostitution that's going on in the line of little children. Friends, you have no idea how bad this stuff is. When you see the numbers, because we've been in the meetings where we were able to see a record, okay? We saw it. We saw the videos. We heard the pimp speaking. We heard the abusers, the cartel. We listened to what they are doing and how they're doing it. It will blow your mind what these people are doing. It's almost like, yo, how long this been going on? How come I didn't know? That's how it feels. You know, I've been in places where the audience will break down crying. Some of the members themselves were part of that. And some of the children in some of these churches and these environments were themselves abused in the same way. So listen, man, this woman needs her flowers now for having the guts and the heart to say it like it is. She said, I am done. And the reason she's done is because she knows how bad of a thing this is. She's not saying this trying to be cute. No. She's telling you there's a serious problem going on. And that problem is also being gated and protected by many politicians. They're not locking up these criminals. They're allowing them to go on. And these children and their trauma and their pain, Lord have mercy. So I would say, man, you need to be prayerful about this. You need to educate yourself and also be part of the fight, man. Be part of the fight. Both my wife and I are involved, and we are trying to help as much as possible. But at the same time, we got to protect our own homes from what is happening. And also check yourself, because the people who goes into these areas who begin to do stuff like this, it started on a trajectory. It started little by little. So the people who now are doing this or are part of this crazy cycle of abusiveness, but you have to understand it happened over time. It happened a little bit at a time. So, yeah, have you ever seen the movie Sound of Freedom? It tells you everything you need to know, man. Sound of Freedom. You know the name of Jeffrey Epstein? You know those names? You know, P. Diddy and all these guys? Some of this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a whole network of men who are engaged in pushing forward these level of abusiveness on little children. So she had to come out and say, I'm done. She had to come out and say, I'm done. Because she realized these laws and policies that we're putting in place, they ain't changing nothing.
I'm done. I'm done with us protecting people who would buy and abuse our children. I'm done.
You know, this one really breaks my heart when I think about stuff like this. Unfortunately, you don't hear too many sermons about this. You don't hear too many, nobody preaching about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like yeah, it's you got to go look for it online. It's a protected class. You have to understand. This stuff has been going on in Hollywood for a long time. It's been happening in Disney for a long time. These Disney children have come out and spoke against some of the stuff that's been going on. So it's not like we don't know or we haven't heard it. It's just one of those things that just, it stays in the shadow. It's covered up. And I'm telling you, it's in churches. It's in churches. Catholic churches, Protestant churches, Seventh-day Adventist churches. It's been happening. Friends, it's been going on. I can tell you stories. Okay? Like, I can tell you stories. My wife can tell you stories. As a young lady, what she saw with these eyes, what she saw. Jesus says in Luke 17, verse 2, if you hurt one of these little ones, it would have been better for you that a millstone were hung around your neck and you were cast into the sea. And I'm telling you, he's talking about the innocent ones. And also in Proverbs, we are told in Proverbs 6 that hands who sheds innocent blood, these type of stuff are an abomination unto the Lord. But we live in a society today where they're protected. They are cared for. I'm telling you, it's a lot more common than what you think. It's a lot more normal than what you think. It's happening a lot more often than what you think. I mean, if you saw what I saw in my study of this matter, like, this stuff is wild. Like, it's a wild network. And that's why when you read in the Bible, in Revelation 13, it's speaking about slaves, bonds, slaves, right? They will receive a mark in their forehead. I'm like, how can there be slaves? Like it's 2024. We have no more slaves. What are you talking about? And I love when I hear people talking about slavery of the past. Oh, the slavery of the past, the slavery of the past, slavery of the past. Brother, there's slavery going on right now. Slavery of the past. Okay, fine. What happened back then was horrible. We can talk about that. But there's stuff going on as we speak. It's not just happening to adults. It's happening to little ones. Little ones. And we're talking about millions of them. What are you talking about? Oh, past. Well, fine. Address the past. But what about now? You don't hear the same people as bold and arrogant and determined to fix the current slavery of today, where this stuff is practiced and propagated and encouraged and protected, even on social media. Like, videos like this get shadow banned on YouTube. Yes. Talking about this can get me in trouble on YouTube. You know that, right? Why? Because the network is that deep. It's that serious of a thing. It's that serious. Oh, so you're talking about something sensitive here. They will actually send you a note. I get those emails all the time. Strike. Why? Because you mentioned something about a group of people. It's a protected class. You have to understand. They're protecting the supposed victimizers above the victims. Is that bad of a thing? I tell you what. I don't want to say too much. Be prayerful, educate yourself, advocate, speak up and speak out, and root this thing out wherever you could find it. That's all I can tell you. Trust the Lord, of course, but sitting here and not do something about it, the Bible says in Isaiah 58, we need to cry aloud and spare not. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. There's some wickedness in the world you should never tolerate. This is one of them. There's some stuff going on in the world that you say, but there's no room for that one. This is one of them. This is one of them. Anyway, share your thought and perspective with me. I want to hear from you. Link in the description below. Like and subscribe to the page. Click the bell icon for more. Support the channel. Stand with us as well. If you like what we're doing here, much more is happening. I just wanted to rant today. I'm not preaching so much. I'm not pulling too many Bible verses this time. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because guess what? Very few are talking about this. Very few. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.